Okay.
Good. Good. Off key. That was off key.
Oh boy.
But that's okay.
I didn't know.
That's okay. This is a place where you can be amateurish.
Oh, good.
And practice.
And take off my sweater too, maybe.
Don't take off too much, though.
No.
We don't do buff here. We don't do buff. We could have a sweat lodge, though, for old people.
Well.
Yes. A sweat lodge
You
for old people.
consider yourself an old person?
I do.
Oh,
I do.
I don't.
You don't?
No.
Oh my God.
And I'm older, way older.
Way older. What do you think that means?
I sometimes feel old, but I don't know about you, I feel you're supposed to take off, as you know, I told you this, 1 year for each year after 50.
I didn't do that. That's why I feel old, I think.
So I'm going to be 25 next Tuesday.
Oh, good. I can't figure that out, but it's okay. Whatever you think.
Yep. Wow. This is very nice. So you're going to coach me.
This is a day of perfect audience. So I'm coaching you. Be perfect. But no pressure. Just be perfect. Be yourself.
I love
Unless yourself's not perfect.
No, it's not. I love an old mantra. Anything worth doing is worth doing badly.
I think I heard it a different way.
How did you hear it?
I don't remember how I heard it, but I heard it different.
Okay. I could riff on perfect.
You could.
If you wanted me to, but I can go back to, I used to try to be perfect.
You did. Back when you were with your mother.
I think.
Before that.
Not then, but I'm going to focus, because Neil's going to coach me. We left off, if you remember, at the tragedy of the open mouth.
The tragedy of the open mouth. The tragedy of trench mouth.
No, there was the tragedy of in my family when we were sitting down at dinner. Mm-hmm. My mother would say, "Charlie, you're eating too fast. You didn't wait for me to come."
Oh, yes.
And it would make him eat a little more fast. And then my father would say, "If you open your mouth one more time, I'm going to throw this coffee cup with coffee right at you."
Wow.
And my mother's very brave.
Very brave.
Or foolish.
Foolish.
And she says, "Oh!"
Wow.
And he throws it.
Wow. Did he hurt her?
She wanted to come after him. And my youngest brother took her to the bathroom and locked her in the bathroom so she wouldn't fight him.
Why didn't he lock your father in the
That
bathroom?
would be too hard. So
Was your father big?
He's a fireman. He was strong.
Oh, he was a fireman.
Yep.
Oh, did he do the fire walk?
No.
He didn't study Anthony Robbins.
No.
Oh, he should have.
So that was eating. That was the tension of eating at home.
Yikes! I can see how you wouldn't be hungry.
For some time in my life when I went away to school, University of Chicago, if I would eat even a section of orange, one section, and like in the halftime of the basketball game, if I ate it under any pressure, my body wouldn't digest. It would just, the section of orange would be there, and it would be like the rest of my body would say, "We don't want to think, we don't want to play basketball. Alert, we've got to digest the food." And I would shut down. And for some reason, maybe you could understand it, the food did not, there was so much tension, I think, that the food did not, the tension stopped everybody else from digesting.
Everybody else?
I mean,
you mean all the internal everybody else?
The internal, yes, the internal organs of
the 9/10 of you that isn't you.
Yeah, that they had.
They were all against you.
And this was such a traumatic situation, eating even a section of orange without being, at a table.
Like you were anorexic.
I could eat when I sat down and didn't listen to any media and talked with people. Then it was okay, and it was with friends.
That was really old school.
Yes, and talk with friends.
No media? Eating without media?
I still cannot listen to any media.
Oh, when we have supper, we need media, though. We're going to train you to multitask.
I think maybe if there was
I think
music,
you should learn how to multitask.
If there was music without words, I could probably handle it.
Music without words. Okay, maybe we'll start with music without words. So what do you think about death?
Well, I think Abby Hoffman said it's the best trip of all.
Abby Hoffman should know. He should know by now. How long has he been dead?
I don't know. That's why it's saved for last.
Steal this book.
No. I look forward to it.
Death? You look forward to death?
I look forward to fasting.
Wow.
I'm going to fast.
This is a brave man. He looks forward to death.
Yes, I'm going to fast. My plan is to fast to death. As you remember.
How do you know when you're dying, though?
It's hard to know, but we know we have an acquaintance who had Parkinson's, and when she began to fade and couldn't make it around the house herself, she fasted to death. She died in 4 days.
Really? Wow. That takes willpower.
Yeah. No, it doesn't at all.
Oh.
No, if you don't have liquid, you'll die within a week.
Oh, she didn't have liquid. You said fast.
Well, fast can include liquid.
I guess it
Yom
could.
Kippur is no.
That's not what I was
brushing
thinking
of your
about.
teeth in Yom Kippur.
You can't brush your teeth.
No.
So don't kiss me on Yom Kippur, Mikey.
I wonder about kissing. You shouldn't be kissing on Yom Kippur.
You shouldn't be kissing. Is it like a rule? I bet
Yes, it is. It is.
You can't kiss.
Yeah, I remember
on
I
Yom
was
Kippur.
visiting a woman, and
Unless there's a war.
now it was a war going on. And
Really?
She said we can't make love on Yom Kippur.
Kissing and making love is different from fasting.
No, not for the.
Oh, not for the Orthodox.
Not for the Orthodox.
The Zika Zionists.
No kissing.
The microcephalic mainstream Zionists. We're taking a deep breath here because we don't want to seem self-hating, do we?
No.
Oh, good.
Love Orthodox Jews.
We love ourselves. We're philo-Semitic.
I mean, we all make mistakes.
We do. We
Thomas
do all this.
Jefferson, George
The
Washington.
Gaza massacre.
This is
Yeah, that's a mistake.
Washington's birthday. He had slaves.
His birthday?
Today is his birthday.
He chopped down the cherry tree was his big
No, he
mistake.
didn't. That was
He did. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. My whole sense of American history is built on that. And Columbus discovered America.
We seem to be wandering from my story that you're going to coach me.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So, my mother was not only with my father tough, but she would, when I was growing up, she would hit me anytime I was fighting with my brother to let me know, don't hit people that are smaller than you. And I would start to cry.
Like Harry Houdini.
Yes?
Yes, that's how he died. He told someone to punch him in the stomach, but they punched him before he was ready
Oh my.
and hurt him so badly that he then died.
I was never ready for this, and my mother would hit me, and then if I started to cry, one time she said, "Don't cry. You make me feel like I'm a bad mother. Stop crying, boys. Don't cry."
Wow. Your mother could leave you with a complex.
She did. What?
And anal retentive besides.
Am I? I don't think I am. I'm not clean enough.
Maybe you could have a Freudian slip.
But I have taken my feelings out against many of the women, all the women I've been.
Uh-oh, that's not acceptable in this day and age.
So
if it ever
It
was.
was a woman. Is it called a complex? It was.
Yes, inferiority complex.
Or terror. I don't know if we need the word complex. I was terrorized. I would like to tell you the moment our relationship totally really an event that totally changed our relationship, my mother and I.
Oh, okay, go
It made
ahead.
her the
Tell me.
most devoted mother that people had ever seen.
Ooh, wow. Transferred from a slappy, coffee-thrown mother
Yeah.
until the devoted mother.
Yes, and
Listen very carefully, my perfect audience, because this is how you transform your mother.
so I decided she was coming from New Hampshire visiting my other brother, and I was driving a taxi to support myself. And I said, great, I'm going to work tomorrow and say I don't want to see you.
Oh.
And I said that. And it felt good. And I decided in my late 30s, I call her up and I say, Mom, I'm not going to talk to you for 4 years. And then we'll talk again.
Wow, in your late 30s.
My late 30s.
Why 4?
It was this is a university town, and I wanted to.
Oh, you wanted to be a freshman, then a sophomore, then a junior, and finally have a senior moment.
And so at the end of the 4 years, my father calls up a few months before the end, says, your mother just had a heart attack, would you please call her?
Wow. So did you wait for 4 years?
No, I called.
Oh, you called.
And I invited her to come visit.
I thought she was having a heart attack.
No,
How could
but she was getting better.
Oh, she was getting better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I said, when you get better, come visit. Thank you.
Oh.
And she came and she stayed, and I pick her up at the airport. Mm-hmm. And we go to Stop and Shop and to get food for her place. And she starts complaining again. Said, why are we shopping? How come you didn't have food in the refrigerator for me? You knew I was coming. I don't want to be shopping. I've just been traveling. What's wrong with you?
Did she throw coffee at you?
No.
Good.
So when we get to the place we're staying and unload the groceries, I say to her, Mom, now that we're getting back together again, I want us to talk more kindly to each other.
Getting back together again?
Yes.
Ooh, I can see how you might have a little trouble with women in your life.
Yes. And she says, stop trying to control how I talk. You're Hitler. You're Hitler. Don't control how I talk. And I walk out.
You were in your own apartment?
No, I had rented the place for her from a friend.
Oh, I see.
And I walk out. And I come back the following...
Without saying anything?
I just leave.
Oh, good. Okay.
And I come back the following morning and say hi. She says to me, the first thing she says, because I could see her trembling, because I think she was afraid that I would...
She had Parkinson's.
Not then.
No.
I didn't know. And that I might not talk to her again for 4 years.
Oh.
I could see her holding her tongue with her teeth. And she says, I think you're right. We should talk to each other more kindly.
Wow.
And she never again.
Wow. This is a good story.
It's a true story.
It's a true, as conceived by the teller,
Yes.
story.
And people who saw us, she said they thought I was the most devoted son they ever saw, and they thought she was the most devoted mother.
Wow, just like OJ and Nicole.
And my mother, when I was growing up, had a kind of a Geiger counter in her. And she was, there's a wonderful story by D.H. Lawrence. They married for love, and when the love turned to dust, everyone in the family could hear, even the chairs and the walls, chanting, there must be more money. There must be more money. There must be more money. And my mother was like that since the love between her and my father turned to dust. And even when I would go out with people, she discouraged me to go out with them.
Why?
Because if they lived too far, it would cost too much gas. I didn't figure it out at the time. But then I knew, oh yes.
So she was saving money by having you...
Not spend so much on gas.
Wow, you come from a complicated family.
It was that following
I can
money.
see why you're the way you are now.
Yeah, so I gave up. I didn't want to make any money. I showed them.
Oh, you've succeeded.
Adult education
You've
teacher.
succeeded.
Adult education teacher.
Adult education.
Yes, or-
Now that's what I hope my son will be, an adult education teacher.
So I didn't make money. I showed them.
You did show them.
But when we got back together, I'm afraid to use the phrase.
Got that? Yes, that's second time you used
Yeah,
it.
I
You
know.
used it 3 times.
I won't use it again unless you want me
Okay.
to.
I don't want you to.
Okay. And she decided, since I was living in 2 rooms with no sink in the bathroom,
No sink in the bathroom. Wow.
and she wanted to spend $5,000 remodeling my bathroom and kitchen.
Did you own the place?
It was, we were beginning to. It was still under rent control, but it's a long story.
Oh,
we owned
I
the-
know that story. I know that
I think
building.
you lived there, didn't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did. And I had a 3-legged cat called Hash.
So she leaves me the $5,000. This mother who was a Geiger counter,
How did she leave it?
she just gave me a check
Oh, a check. Okay.
and called about 2 weeks later, said, have you started to remodel your apartment? And I said, Mom, I really don't want to remodel the apartment. I'm happy it's the way it is. And she says, I don't want to control you. You can keep the money and do whatever you want with it.
Wow. Now that's a makeover.
The following year, she comes and still discovers that there's no sink in the bathroom.
Oh, so this is the test.
And she says this time, if you want to, but only if you want to, I'll go to Somerville Lumber with you and we'll pick out a new sink for your kitchen and bathroom.
Wow.
And knock away the closets.
What
and
a
have big
sweet
room.
mother.
And so we go, and it's somewhat ecstasy for her. We want this thing. And it was her last day there. And so I got a remodeled bathroom and kitchen.
While she was there.
We bought it all, and then when she left, I hired people to do
Put it
what we
in?
had bought. Yeah.
Oh. And that's your current sink in the bathroom?
Yes.
Wow, and that cost $5,000?
Well, with a new sink and we got rid of a closet we didn't need, and there was it was
a big
originally
deal.
just a insulation in the walls because it was originally for servants. It was once 4 rooms, and
Oh, wow.
so walls had to be
Interesting.
battered down. So that has helped me immensely living in a nicer place. I
Yes.
think of her even then. So we got on together. I made 2 mistakes,
Just 2?
2 crucial mistakes.
2 crucial. You mean after that? Even after she got to be a good mother?
Yes.
Even after she stopped being the wicked witch of the West?
Yes, and became the good witch of the East.
Good witch of the East.
I talked to her about my romances.
Why?
Well, she was visiting for the summer, and so she was a friend, and so I told her about who I was going out with or how it was getting on.
And you've continued to have no boundaries.
You could say that if you wanted to.
I do.
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't. When I had stopped talking to her, I met a woman who I would eventually marry.
That was a big mistake. That must have been mistake number 2.
This is mistake number 1. This is how I married her. We're sitting on my porch, on my back roof, with my neighbor. Mm-hmm. My mother, like some mothers, does this. She talks to Bob and says, Michael should marry Robbie. Talking to me as if I'm the third person, as if I'm not there. Not you should, or don't you think Michael? And I didn't realize at the time Robbie's parents were millionaires, and it was the old Geiger counter in. And about a day later, sitting alone on my rooftop, I feel this urge to marry Robbie, and I go and
Yikes!
I propose to her
Yikes!
on my knees.
You and your mother are a little enmeshed.
Yes.
I would have to say.
I marry Robbie. And
Did you get the $1 million?
No, that was another story we won't get into now.
Oh,
I never wanted money. I had been well trained to totally stay away from money.
except the $5,000 for the bathroom.
Well, I accepted it, but I wasn't. I was never allowed myself to want money.
To this day.
In some ways.
In some ways.
I mean, I've learned that money is beautiful, and we still keep doing things. And the second mistake I made is, it's called...
Let's take a deep breath first. We'll do an om. Okay. Now for the second mistake.
It's called, I don't know if you're familiar with this, a forgiveness bypass.
I've heard of a triple bypass,
No, this is-
and a quadruple bypass,
And this is not-
even a quintuple bypass.
And I don't think this is something you for your own self-growth need to know, but those of us who aren't as honest as you need to know.
Oh, okay.
Forgiveness bypass.
Oh, well, then let's tell those people who
A
aren't.
forgiveness bypass is when people think they have forgiven someone. In their minds. In my mind, I think I forgive you.
Oh, I understand. Now I understand. But you don't really
But
forgive
I
me.
don't even know
You don't even
how
know.
angry, hateful, and murderous I feel toward you.
Wow. That's how I feel about climate change. I hate us.
No, but you know that.
I do know that.
See, I didn't know I was doing a forgiveness bypass.
Maybe you could have a non-violent communication with yourself.
I have a lot of violent communication with myself. 'Cause
Maybe you could have a non-violent
yes, that would be
communication.
that would be a great step forward. At least
Take a deep breath.
I even go with my mother, you will not believe this, probably, to our 12-step program. We both like
A
to do.
12-step
It was
program.
called something like Incest Anonymous.
Incest Anonymous. Oh my God.
Really?
Uh-oh.
And-
I can hear you talking
Yes,
about
yes.
you and your mother getting together again.
Yes, and I go in there and they, for some reason, choose me to tell the story, which is against the rules.
Oh, it's against the
For
rules.
me to be the feature talker.
Oh.
But somehow I got
don't know the rules.
chosen. I didn't either. And one person actually walked out. She said, he has just come here for the first time. He shouldn't be the feature talker.
I would see why she would walk
And
out.
I tell the story of my being in, story is a funny word, being in the bathroom when I'm 15 years old. And for my mother, there's no doors in our house she can go through. She doesn't respect boundaries, to say the least.
Wow.
Goes into the bathroom, opens it, looks at
This is going to be a scatological
Yeah, yeah.
story. I can tell.
Yeah, very
it's
brief,
going to
though.
involve either number 1 or number 2.
Not really. I am.
Oh, good.
Well, I am.
Oh, good.
I
Because
am.
this program has some boundaries.
So maybe I am urinating, and you can stop me now.
No, I don't want to stop you.
And my mother says,
Uh-huh.
well, it's hard to relive this. I wish your father would amaze me the way you do.
Oh, God. Was this after she had her transformation or before?
I'm 15 years old now.
Oh, 15. Oh, right.
And I say this at Incest Anonymous.
Yikes! That must have brought up some feelings for some people.
Well, they're used to that, though. That's what they're there for. Tell these
Oh.
stories. And so we walk out, and my mother says, "Did that really happen?"
Wow!
And I say, "Yes, it did, Mom."
Wow.
And I don't know, maybe it was good to share. I don't know.
Now it's hard to wrap my mind around going to Incest Anonymous with your mother.
Yeah.
That's a little hard to wrap my mind around. Just as we finally come close to ending,
Yeah.
that's a part of the story that would need like a little bit of slowing down and explication.
Yes, we can, if you invite me back for one more week.
If I do.
Oh, I hope so, because there's
If I do.
there's an ending.
I commit to nothing.
Yes. Well, I'll begin the ending, if it's okay. So I'm preparing to be on your show, and then this is going to be out of the blue at 8 o'clock, March 1st, my birthday. I wanted to...
Oh, that's now that you've mentioned it on this program, you'll be inundated with people coming.
And I wanted to thank her for my birth.
Oh, wow. That's a good thing. Since she's dead.
Yes, so that's your first question.
Yes.
And to what degree is she here now when we're talking about her?
To what degree is any of us here now?
And so I'm sitting with my therapist telling her about my plan to thank my mother. Mm-hmm. And my therapist, it's called Internal Family Systems.
Okay, but never mind. We won't go into that.
We don't have any time. But we bring parts of ourselves and have conversations with them in this therapy. And she says, well, you can invite your mother, the mother that's in you, to have a conversation with her.
Like the inner child. That's like inner child.
And I am very surprised. I want to hit her.
Wow.